cold really stimulates mitochondria because you want to make essentially more heat to bolster your body temperature in response to the cold water immersion, for example. But when you do that, you're stimulating the production of all forms of light, including the UV light as well. And that's why Jack also talks about how if you want to build your internal melanin, like we have melanin deep in our brain, in the locus coeruleus and the substantia nigra. The substantia nigra is the part of the brain that becomes degraded in Parkinson's disease. It loses melanin over time, and melanin and dopamine, you might know that dopamine is like defective in Parkinson's disease, but melanin and dopamine are very tightly linked, where they both share the same precursor, tyrosine, which is an amino acid. And so what the body can essentially do is, if dopamine is, let's say, running low, it can break down melanin to make L-dopa and then shunt it into dopamine production. And melanin can be broken down also if there's a very oxidative environment. So if it's like you're under a lot of inflammatory stress, you're in, let's say, a poor light environment 24/7, you're eating bad foods, you're not moving your body, it creates a very reactive and oxidative environment that melanin can actually help to sequester some of those reactive species. But it's at a cost, because if you don't get out of that environment, now the melanin is actually being like terminally degraded and you're losing those sheets. And we have melanin not only in those parts of the brain, but also in the nasal mucosa, the oral mucosa, the inner ear. It's essentially at the barrier of every sense organ, also in the back of the eye, the pigmented retinal epithelium. So the retina and in general, the body requires melanin to function optimally, especially as it relates to the sensory organs, including the sensory apparatus within the brain. Now, the mainstream dermatologist will tell you that there's no such thing as a healthy tan.
¡Ah, güey, mi mente! Les dije, amigos, esto está